Production funding for Making It Up North is provided by the citizens of Minnesota through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Don't worry about the grant. So just go for it. And so, those kinds of responses to my idea just really set it in motion.
I must admit, you're heavenly. What can I do today to put myself in a better position tomorrow?
Keep moving, come on.
Just a second.
Just a big, really cool scene, a lot of smoke, a lot of cool lights. It was a pretty fun scene. It's gonna be fun to see when the movie comes out for sure.
I really love being able to play snare drum or marimba or steel drum or just a pile of junk, literally, and it just never gets old.
In our minds, we're imagining we're the water. It can jump over rocks because it hits an obstacle. It has this way of parting and coming back together. And a river has a much more sort of flowing feeling. So we tried really to encapsulate that in the movement. It's gonna be a little different every time we do it because it's live, so. I'm Molly Olson, and the show is called Reflections on Water.
The biggest snafu we're probably going to have tonight is just sort of those leggy technical communication with the band.
So tonight we have our first dress rehearsal. We're trying to run through the first act continuously, and then we'll kind of go over some parts we need to again, and then the second act continuously, and same thing. It'll be a work in progress tonight, but it's exciting to see it coming together.
Streams, rivers, lakes, you remember which side you're on?
I actually had a goal of doing the show in August. Last May, I said, okay, let's just try for it. Ever since then, every person I kind of told about it, they would say, ooh, that's really cool. I could help out with this. I could help out with that.
Just for the first act. You can do just first act stuff.
One of my close friends was at our house in Ely for dinner, and I was sharing my idea, and he got really excited, and he said, well, are you gonna do it? Just do it. And I said, well, I have to apply for a grant, and I just don't know if I'll get the grant. He said, you know what? Don't worry about the grant. I would fund $500 worth, and I'm sure there are a lot of other people that would help fund the show. So just go for it. And so, those kinds of responses to my idea just really set it in motion. With the kind of energy that people bring to Ely, they seem like they are independent spirits, but they also value community. And so it's that's unique. And then also it seems to draw people who are creative. Just thinking about all the different options I had for movement with water, it was really inspirational. Sometimes in the show you'll see us being water, and other times you'll see how humans, enjoy water. Moving to Ely, you are surrounded by water. I mean, it's the Boundary Waters, right? And so if it's the summer, you're out, you're fishing, you're canoeing, paddleboarding, whatever your love is, you're doing something on the water. And in the winter, we ski, we sled, we ice skate. I mean, we just love it. And so there's all of this activity around water. We see so many birds here. It's a great bird watching spot. Lots of eagles and loons and ducks. And my favorite is the blue herons. They are constantly flying around here. So it's just really a beautiful place to to experience nature. Just that experience when you go into the Boundary Waters of just reconnecting with your humanity and with everything around you. And there's a couple pieces in this show that really speak to me about that.
I applied for a Minnesota State Arts Board Artist Initiative grant and received that to write music for 4 different ensembles throughout Minnesota. So one of the ensembles was the Accidental Ensemble here in Ely.
We're a mixed string and wind ensemble, and that's kind of uncommon. And because we are in northern Minnesota, you know, we don't have access to other players. You know, you have to kind of, it's hard to find music to fit us.
I wrote music for streams, rivers, and lakes that the Accidental Ensemble is performing.
I knew that he had that ability to mimic, you know, nature, and I thought, how cool would that be? And so then I talked to Michael about it, and then I put Molly and Michael in touch with each other, and then it all just kind of worked out together.
The composer, Michael, really listened to what I was looking for. I wanted music that would evoke the feelings of streams and then transform into rivers and then transform to lakes.
This is the first time I've written for dance, so keeping in mind kind of time signatures and tempos and things like that and how those will actually map onto physical movements. It's not just kind of, I get to do whatever I want and I get to change it as often as I want, but being conscious of people keeping track of that outside of reading the music. So being able to keep track of it physically is something that was different for me to explore for this. That was really cool.
It's an intangible feeling of having live music and dancing to it. You're experiencing the whole gamut. So you're, not only are your senses involved in the dance and the movement, but your ears are also picking up little nuances that they're bringing to the piece. The advice that I got from Twyla Tharp about making space for creativity, that was super important. And then, you know, find people that you trust that can support you through the process, who will take parts of the work on. That has been really, really beneficial. Finding those key people to kind of support you along the way, and then just making that time and space for that creativity. That was really important in this process.
Music is my life, so music is me. Really, music is an everyday occurrence. I make sure that I find time to allow music to heal me, allow music to motivate me, and to keep me driven. So for example, every single day I make sure I at least take out 45 minutes for a piano session, 20 minutes for at least a vocal lesson, and at least an hour for a listening session. So music is an everyday occurrence, every single day, 7 days a week. I'm Solomon Henry Witherspoon, Duluth native. I'm a business partner of the Red Herring.
Chris, where are you? We gotta find you. We gotta do this week's promos.
So I'm Bob's business partner. So pretty much I'm Bob's right-hand man, Bob's wingman. So I do exactly what needs to get done.
Chris, we gotta do this week's Hold Up the Herring episode, man.
Where is Chris? Chris.
Tell me about your family. I mean, who taught you to play music?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Well, my family, my father was Reverend Witherspoon. He sang also. My mother was Sharon Witherspoon. And we had it's called the Witherspoon Choir. And the Witherspoon Choir was my family and nobody else at church.
Where did piano come in?
I was maybe a junior in high school, actually. My brother had got murdered in '94. I was a sophomore. He was at his 21st birthday party. My brother and his two best friends were murdered. And R.I.P. Sam, love you, sir. And a year after that, I just couldn't sleep at all. I was sleeping pretty much maybe 45 minutes a night. I mean, I was getting absolutely no sleep at all. And something came upon my heart, and something told me that, hey, Solomon, get a keyboard. So I bought a cheap $20 Casio keyboard. And I started to kind of play like a couple little notes. I actually signed a couple of record deals in the past. And by the grace of the man above, I was on tour for multiple years, playing for children's hospitals. I was in New York, California, Florida, Wisconsin, all over the place. But as far as today goes, my path now is to invite and engage right now with all the musicians in town locally. This is locally. And I want to bring something out of them that they can't bring out of themselves. And I want to make them better than what they were yesterday, today. Call it all a dream, angels singing. This is my bit of advice flat out. You can never, ever, 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 ever be denied as long as you put your right foot forward. You maintain your humility and understand that tomorrow's not easy. Today's a son of a gun. There's obstacles, there's trials, tribulations, but nobody can give you what you're taking. They can't give it to you. So I want everybody right now, go take advantage of life. Don't allow nobody to give you a damn thing. Go take it, and take it now, because tomorrow's not promised. I celebrated my sister's birthday yesterday. She's in heaven, God bless you, Sister Liz. She was murdered in 2006, but one thing she taught me was in this life, it's so important right now for today that you take advantage of your days and understand that tomorrow's not promised with the operative question, what can I do today to put myself in a better position tomorrow? But as long as we can execute the basics, you know what I mean, and pay it forward, can't lose. Can't lose.
I want my daughter back.
Why should I bargain? I have your soul already.
I'm thinking about taking her to the reservation.
No!
Oh, don't be so dramatic. It's just legend.
It's cursed!
The movie is The Harbinger. They started in January here in 2018 in pre-production, and filming began in April and went through the end of May. So through January and, you know, before the start of production, they were inside the studio building all these sets that we're going to go see.
In that 4 months, we had 16 crew members, 12 were local. Now, before they walked through the door to manufacture the sets, to create the sets that were used in the filming of the movie, none of the 12 knew anything about film, or none of them had ever worked on a film production. So what we want to do here is we need to, if we're going to be successful, is get a training program that brings kids or adults or whoever into the filmmaking process.
One of the big features of the sets is this probably about 60-foot long cave that they built for one of the important scenes in the movie, that the characters are running down, escaping from some entity, I don't know, evil, that is chasing them through the tunnel.
Keep moving, come on.
Just a second. So this is now a permanent thing that you can offer people, right?
Yeah, I mean, the wonderful thing about the location of this tunnel is it's kind of tucked out of the way. Since we have so much space in the studio, they're able to build this very large tunnel, not in the main portion of the studio. So we're able to keep it around. We have a lot of interested productions that want to come and film in a tunnel. It's great to be able to say we got a 60-foot tunnel, bring your production here and take advantage of it. And there's a surprising amount of interest to do that.
Well, we're a fully integrated studio, and what that means is we have equipment, we've got space, we've got relationships with vendors that can help every aspect of a film production. So, you know, to really make an industry in an area, you know, it's like manufacturing. And so this space is that. It's a factory of production.
It allows people who can do more than just the mines, where some of the set building and the carpentry and the electrical and having that for the community is fantastic, because I don't like telling kids that come out of school, go get a job down in the cities. I want it to be here.
You can make a living in movies. It will take the support of the community, of the state, of people raising their literacy to encourage it, to be willing to not make resistance, to help. I don't think there's a doubt that it can make a living. It's like, we just have to make it fit.
If you were to film on the North Shore, it could look like you're in Massachusetts. If you were to film in an open pit mine, it could look like you're in a desert or in the Grand Canyon. You know, we have the lakes, forests, rural landscapes. Then we also have the soundstage, where it's always 75 and sunny.
So this is one of how many rooms that are set up at any one time?
So this is one of, right now, there's 11 sets on the soundstage. So those are 11 static sets, and they were able to, during production, repurpose some of those sets. So overall, I think they had somewhere between 15 to 17 different sets filmed on the soundstage during production. Over the course of, I think, 17 days, they were filming in the studio. So there's a lot of efficiency being able to shoot all those locations right here on the soundstage. And that was definitely a benefit to the production. If we tore all the sets down and just made it a blank canvas again, it's about 47,000 square feet that is usable to productions, however they see fit. This last production did a great job taking advantage of all the space. It really made their filming efficient, being able to do all those locations right here on the soundstage.
It's really humbling and really gratifying to see the impact that only one project has had so far, and we are in talks with many, many more.
I thought first about the setup. You know, I really wanted Tim and I to be sort of surrounded by things, sort of like kid in the candy store. We're at like the percussion playground and we're just like going crazy. Hopefully what we are as a group is sort of encapsulated in this one piece.
We've performed it now already, we've rehearsed it many times, but it's always trying to get to that next level.
Yeah. You can always listen deeper and get to a higher level and really think about the sounds you're producing. You know, obviously we're not working on, okay, can we play our parts together? That was, you know, a long time ago. We're really listening for how specific, you know, we can get with every single moment. Tim is a lot of my sounding board. Like I have, for every 10 ideas, he's like 9 of them are terrible or whatever. So he's a good editor of stuff.
He's really picky, and I always get the hard parts. But
that's true. That part is true.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's fun to collaborate on the piece and to see it kind of develop from nothing into its final product. And sure, I think it's a big deal for anybody who gets to play with a symphony orchestra. And as performers, you know, we're always looking for new opportunities to play and to perform. And this takes us out of our normal chamber music duo ensemble, and to get to collaborate with a full orchestra in this kind of level is a really unique experience in general. There are not very many duo percussion concerti that have been written.
We love to travel, and we love to meet new people and see what everyone's doing all over the world, and then kind of bring that home and use that not only in our playing, but also our teaching. It could be something as simple as, I got this instrument from this little store in Beijing, or it could be a broader compositional or performance idea that we learned just over years of traveling, or anything in between, I suppose.
I think, part of the international travel as well that's so interesting is exploring these different cultures that we get to go to. We always try to make a point that when we go somewhere, we try to schedule some time to be able to experience some of that stuff and not just play concert after concert after concert, and really kind of immerse ourselves in the culture a little bit more. In studying some of these world musics, like traveling to Brazil, how can you not go to Brazil and learn about samba?
This is the UMD Percussion Ensemble. We're doing traditional batucada, which is a Brazilian parade music, usually played during Carnival. This is a very, very small part of just, a very wide curriculum. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So who's in charge of the timeline here?
I'm with it.
The 8th note thing? Yeah. Okay, so then you got to make sure that your 16th notes are locked into here, right? Like, you guys are the motor, and then you guys have to make sure that you know where the pulse is all the time, right? So the class this morning was 4 of our 5 current graduate students here. And the graduate percussion group is its own ensemble outside of the normal percussion ensemble that we have here that focuses on really high-level, high-skilled chamber music playing.
Like Tim mentioned, some of what we do coaching together is really unique. There's really no place in the country other than maybe 1 or 2 places I can think of that have a percussion, like a resonant percussion group that's actually there 24/7. I think the composite in general is pretty good. Just make sure we're really listening. Let's do that part again at A and try to adjust those things. Why percussion? That's actually an easy answer.
Because it's interesting.
Yeah, there's so many things to do. I really love being able to play snare drum or marimba or steel drum or just a pile of junk, literally, and it just never gets old. Even when you come back to the same instrument, it just feels so fresh because there's so many different variables.
Even looking at the ensemble that played this morning with that collection of instruments, it's such a unique sound. Like, the glockenspiel is not played in the traditional manner. The vibraphone's not played in the traditional manner. There's use of glass bottles, right? So it's always something new, even if it's an old instrument like the glockenspiel. Like, creating a new way to play that instrument for that piece is just, there's always an exploration of sound.
Yeah, and as a composer, that's really my sort of my goal is to find something that I haven't heard before. And that's what I really love about exploring and experimenting from the compositional side, because then you can create your own sound world. You can create what you want to practice. Obviously, working at the university is amazing. It allows you opportunity to connect with students of lots of different backgrounds and experience levels, and that provides obviously most of the way to make a living.
As percussionists, we're always exploring new instruments and new sounds, and we kind of do that with our professional life as well, right? We have the educational side of things, we have the duo performance side of things. We both obviously play with the symphony, you know, playing other concerts with other groups, playing in a band at a bar somewhere, you know. So we're always trying to find new ways to play and hone our craft.
Finding those key people to kind of support you along the way, and then just making that time and space for that creativity. That was really important in this process.
It's just about drive and determination and motivation. If you want it, there's nobody that can take it from you. If you want it, you gotta go get it, and it's important, it's necessary, it's mandatory. You have to go get it.
Motion pictures have every trade that you can imagine. They have technology, they have electronics, they have communication, computers, skills, all the craft trades that go with it, building and construction, engineering. I don't think anything can be left out. And so it's story, and it's our story, and we have a chance to do it here. I think it's great.